Yo, good morning. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB strategy show. We got a sick early game slate, huh? Should have been 6 games, but we got 5 games. And how about yesterday, man? Warren with 10 strikeouts. Yeah. Jesus Luzardo. Just dominant performance at Coors. Again, it just Coors is not what it once was for the Rockies. That game's not on the slate. But we got 5, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm glad you guys could join me. If you don't mind, take a single second, atone for your sins this morning, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You guys already know. It goes a long way. I would not ask you otherwise, but we got to do what we can to stay in the good graces of the YouTube algorithms. So I do appreciate you for it. It's free. That thumbs up is free. If you hate the show, hit the thumbs down. Do it twice. Subscribing is free. Leave a comment down below if you're listening or watching after the fact. This is a weird show because we're doing the early slate, right? So it locks it at 1:10 Eastern. This show will be done and, we'll do like 45 minutes or whatever. But then some people might trickle in afterwards. So you'll still have a little bit of shelf life here. It's not technically alive before lock, but it's closer than we usually are. Anyway, thanks for joining, guys. Let's have some fun. Ram took down the $44 Power Alley and second in the 121 single entry last night. Best analysts and tools in the biz. Thanks, guys. That is awesome, man. Hell yeah. That's huge. Even if you're not rocking the Stokastic avatar, which suggests you do, Ram, because it's just going to get you a lot more bang for your buck, But even if you're not, hit us up over at Stokastic HOF or hit me up. I love seeing those type of wins, man. It makes us feel good. And we should all be supportive of everybody in here. I tell you what, there's nothing worse than seeing somebody win and then you want to act negatively. You behave it's happened to everybody, right? You see someone win, you say, why can't it be me? But you know what Teddy Roosevelt said, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. One of the best quotes ever, isn't it? The way I see it is you keep celebrating other people and then your big win will come and it'll all pay off. So shout out to you, Ram33. Appreciate you guys joining. Darth, Laffy's been crushing it with MLB strategy show. Nice call on Luzardo. Thanks, man. And credit to the tools as well. We're going to put our own analysis in here. We're going to do some digging, but a lot of times we're going to let these sims guide us. We're going to let these sims guide us in hopefully the right direction. And they really have been good for a lot of people this year. And if it hasn't been for you yet, your time is coming. I haven't had any big wins this season, but you keep firing. You're making good lineups. You use the post-contest simulator to make sure you're making good lineups, and you just keep making lineups. A lot of variance in the sport of MLB, right? But you know what? We're having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. I'm having a great time this MLB season. First solo show I've ever done as well. So all of your support, coming and hanging out, jumping in chat, or even if you're just listening from the shadows, appreciate that as well. All right, one thing here, and then we'll dive into it. I've seen a couple people mention it already. Jake, Laffy's busy ripping a pack of heaters. I don't smoke anymore, man. Come on. Knowing the Birds are going to go 4-13 without the tush push. Someone else asked, did they ban the tush push? Aaron did. They're more than likely going to. Here's my thoughts on this. I tweeted it earlier. If they do, in fact, successfully ban the tush push today, you know what team I would have the most respect for? And I am an Eagles fan. The Packers, and you should all any Eagles fan should agree with me on this. And if you don't, you're seeing it wrong. You should have the most respect for the Green Bay Packers because this team took a bullet looking like the sore loser scumbags, bringing this to the table while every other team, assuming this happens, quietly nods in agreement from the shadows and votes yes. So who's worse? The team that outright just openly said, ban it. We'll look like sore losers. Or all the teams that quietly check the yes box. Think of it that way. Don't get me wrong. You're still scumbags. You can't stop it. But there's some level of that. Anyway, yeah, you Packers fans are disgraceful. Don't get me wrong. Your team and the organization is an outright disgrace. However, I have more respect for them than every other team who decides to vote yes and cast that ballot in the darkness of night. You see what I'm saying? But you got, yeah, your team's still scumbags. Can't stop. Guys are still a bunch of scoundrels. Anyway, let's make it happen. I'm joking anyway, Jake. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But I'm just saying, maybe it is. Somebody tweeted me this. Maybe it's the fact that the Packers don't actually have an owner. Like there's no figurehead. There's nothing there. So they had to bite the bullet on this. Interesting thought. Somebody mentioned that to me that was a rumor. It's not the craziest thing. If almost every other team votes yes, then yeah. And you know what you should do? I don't know if they have to vote in like sequential order, if they all just put their votes in, but if they go around and everybody votes, if there's already enough votes to ban it and I'm the last team or one of the few last teams, I'm voting no, just so I don't look like a dick. Anyway, let's get into it. Glad you guys could join. 5 games today. That Minnesota-Cleveland game is not on the slate. By the way, any Jets fans out there, I think you're going to have a surprising good season. I already bet the win total on them. I tried to bet some alts, and they allowed me 76 cents. Go look at their schedule. It's an easy schedule. I like a bounce back for the Jets. Remember I said that, and if I'm wrong, forget I ever said that. Maybe I'll even delete this video. I'm joking. That would take me forever to find it. So let's go. All right. So we got 5 games. We have Gavin Williams in here. I'm going to have to remove this because they removed this from the slate. This is removed from the slate. Give me 2 seconds. Talk amongst yourself. Let me DM the data team here to make sure they remove it. All right. There we go. Let me see. Is it in this one too? Yes, it is. All right. Whatever. We'll still be okay here, and I'll have them update this as we go. But Hunter Brown, I'll victory lap this. As someone who gets plenty wrong, and you guys are here to see it every day, I'll victory lap Hunter Brown because this is a guy who last year we knew. There's a real chance that this guy's running as cold and as unlucky as any pitcher in baseball. And my God, has he turned things around, right? I mean, this guy has been so good, not only over the second half, really the last 2/3 of 2024, but this year, one of the best pitchers in the entire league. That's how good Hunter Brown has been. So I'm not surprised whatsoever that he is the highest top 2 pitcher probability on the slate on DraftKings. If you look at the FanDuel early slate, Hunter Brown also 15%, 15.7 chance of being the number 1 pitcher, 61% ownership. That is crazy. Hold on a second. Let's go through some of these pitchers. Well, Max Myers 8,900. He's getting 3%. FanDuel, Hunter Brown 61%. I mean, that is insane. Oh, nice. Rich Green, they already updated it. Rich is the man, by the way. Does an amazing job on the data. Has this stuff updated by like 8:45 every morning. Working multiple sports, different things. Shout out to Rich. And there we go. Look at that. Look at that. So I'll rerun the Sims, but now we're in business. All right. So this is, just to be clear, this is not a pitcher, a loaded pitcher slate. You have Hunter Brown 68% on DraftKings. So can we just talk about this for a second? Like, I got to rerun the Sims now, because is Hunter Brown are we going to be getting 90% Hunter Brown, or are we going to be getting, I don't know, 20% Hunter Brown? We've seen this before. Remember, 68% owned Kevin Gausman last week. earlier in the season. Spencer Strider making his debut was like 70% owned, and we ended up getting way less Spencer Strider. So we're going to see how this plays out for us. But I can tell you this much. If you're going into a 5-game slate and it is either dependent or not dependent on Hunter Brown, it's going to make a huge difference. Fistula, what a name. Of course, the Sims are going to give you the leverage. That's not true, though, man. That's not true. If you've used them enough, there are going to be times where, despite all of what you see and the negative leverage, if there aren't any pitchers that really come close enough, what the Sims will do is give you leverage, but it'll give you leverage elsewhere. See what I'm saying? Might give you leverage on a low-owned SP2. Might give you leverage on a low-owned 3-man stack, 5-man stack, right? So that's often how it works. It's not always just going to be like, hey, Hunter Brown's super chalky, so we're not going to play him. If that was the thing, if that was the way to do it, Sims wouldn't be necessary. Just don't play the chalk, right? This is telling us what, that's what's so valuable about it. It's telling you when to play the chalk, when to match the field on the chalk, when to get underweight on the chalk, and all of that type of stuff. That's what's so valuable. And yeah, big chops. He said, yeah, sometimes leverages go all in on that pitcher. Right. Like, what if you have 90%? Now, technically, you're way over the field, even at 60+% ownership. Let's see. Here we go. Now I'm very curious to see how this plays out. Are we over or under on a 60% owned Hunter Brown? Any guesses? Any guesses before we flip over? I'm looking at these first 6 lineups, and none of them have Hunter Brown. I'm gonna say we have to be under, right? Here we go. Here goes nothing. Oh my God. Way under. Way under. This is basically like a Hunter Brown fade. Oh my God. That's crazy. So one of the reasons is, you know, this guy is a phenomenal pitcher. And Dre said not fading Hunter. Brother, I'm just here to give you the information that we have. But it is funny too, man. I think people sometimes have, you want to have a short-term memory, right? You want to kind of have amnesia when it comes to DFS. A lot of people have amnesia in the wrong way. They have short-term in the wrong way when it comes to DFS. So they'll forget about the fact that, and does that mean it's going to work today? Obviously not. But they'll forget about the fact that Kevin Gossman at this same ownership last week on an early slate, it was last Wednesday or Thursday, was getting like almost 70% ownership. We were way under the field on him. We were way over on Tampa stacks, given what the Sims had provided us. What happened? Each of the top 3 winning lineups in the main contest had no Kevin Gossman and had at least 3 Tampa Bay Rays. This happens more than you would think. So it's so easy for us. And again, I'm not trying to dictate your decisions. Do what you want. But it's so easy for us to look at somebody like Hunter Brown and be like, man, this guy's clearly the best guy on the slate. He's awesome. How do I fade him? And forget that all of these times recently where we've been heavily underweight on the chalky high-end pitchers, it's worked. It doesn't mean it's going to work every time, but you know, he's 10,500 and essentially 70% of the field is going to own him on a 5-game slate. 75%, almost 70% are going to own Hunter Brown. So it's just a question of risk tolerance and leverage. How do you want to do it? You can do it however you want. But I will say nearly 70% ownership is crazy. It's crazy. And mind you, guys, this isn't a 11-game slate like yesterday, right? Where even an expensive or high-owned Luzardo was easy to get over the field on. Because on an 11-gamer, even if he's popping at like 30% in some contests, it's still not hard to get over the field there. It's not like he's 70% owned. Now you're talking 5 games. So again, I'm just giving you information on one, how the sims work, but also sometimes with an odd sport like baseball, how to view specific situations. If you're not getting comfortable with just being uncomfortable, you're going to lose, And most days, even if you're the best player out there, you're going to lose as a DFS player in baseball. It is crazy, though. Like, that weather is not exactly conducive to pitching. As good as Hunter Brown's awesome. I love this guy. But it's 90 degrees there. And somebody just mentioned this in chat. Michael, what's up, Michael? 90 degrees with winds blowing out 10 miles per hour at George Steinbrenner Field. That is essentially Yankee Stadium, right? How has it fared this year? In home runs, where is it for homers? Yeah, it's top 8 in home runs. But really, if you were to just, since it's very similar to Yankee Stadium, you could look at Yankee Stadium and then factor the weather in, which is even more favorable for hitters down in Tampa or wherever it is. What's it, at Clearwater or something? It's in Florida. So, yeah, I mean, look, you want to bump Hunter Brown up a little bit. I'm not going to blame you for that. We're getting 2% of him on, 150 lineups? I'm not going to fault you there. But there is something to be said about a $10,500 pitcher getting that much ownership on this slate. 4-point run implied total for the Rays. So let's talk about some of the pitchers we are getting to. What do you say? Max Meyer, Shane Smith, Taj Bradley, Chad Patrick. I don't actually hate that. Cade Horton being another one at 8K, getting 23% of him against this bad Marlins team. So there you see it. And I got to tell you guys something. This is actually a pitcher for, I've said this a lot. The White Sox, the reason they're not where people thought they'd be paid, them and the Colorado Rockies would be in a two-horse race running backwards for last place this year, while the Rockies have lapped them 3 times, left the track, and now they're not even in your sight line. Can't even see them anymore. They're over the horizon because their pitching's been awful, and the White Sox pitching has actually been, it hasn't been good, but it's been respectable to the point where they're not just getting blown out every day. And Shane Smith hasn't even been bad. That's the funny thing about Shane Smith. Like, look at this. He has a 315 FIP, 405 xFIP. His numbers haven't been bad. 21% K rate, 5% barrel rate. This guy's actually been decent. So I don't think he's a crazy play today whatsoever. 12.5% swinging strike rate for Shane Smith. And he's 7K against Seattle. It's not actually crazy. So it's not a loaded pitching slate, but what it is a pitching slate. And by the way, we'll keep an eye on weather in that game. It looks semi-sketchy, but should be okay. If we don't have any significant weather there, it is great pitching weather. 51 degrees. Yes, wind's blowing out a little bit there, but it's 51 degrees. It's chilly. To some people, that's cold. So I think Shane Smith actually looks decent. 42% is a little bit scary. Taj Bradley is the one that at 60. I don't know what to make of him. I mentioned last week that I do feel like he's been a little bit unlucky. Yeah, Marvin, that's a good point too. White Sox bullpen is terrible. But their starting pitching hasn't even been that bad. Oh, Jake, is it actually in Tampa? Yeah. But Steve Miner, I get the fade logic, but Brown has had 2 bad games out of 31 over the last rolling year. 2.04 ERA. I think I'm just going to wait until a mediocre pitcher in the 60% on the fade them. Yeah, do your thing, Steve. Again, I'm just giving you what the tools are giving us, and they've been good to us this year. You know, a lot of these exposures that we've gotten have worked. But no, I think Shane Smith looks fine. Max Meyer is the questionable one, along with Taj Bradley. What's funny about Meyer is this guy has potential to just implode, and we've seen that on numerous occasions. But also, he's got good strikeout stuff. And at 8,500 in a favorable pitcher's park, there is something to be said about the value that's seen there, right? He has a 27% strikeout rate, 20% K minus BB rate. These are good numbers. And another thing, has he just been unlucky? Look at his xFIP, 294 xFIP. So let's dig a little bit further here. Join me in this journey. Let's go Max Meyer and just see if he's been a little bit unlucky, xWOBA, xISO, and all that stuff. Add More Funds is great for this, by the way, and it's free. All right, so versus lefties, xISO 210, so not great. xISO rates 158. Yeah, look, to me, all of this looks like he hasn't been all that unlucky. But he strikes out a lot of batters. We can live with that. He gets a lot of ground balls, 53% ground ball rate. And he has a 13% swinging strike rate at 8,500. You know, so is it a little bit scary? Yeah. Is it scary to essentially fade Hunter Brown when your exposures are being redistributed to Max Meyer, Shane Smith, and Taj Bradley? Yeah, that's scary as shit. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Chad Patrick against Baltimore as well. Jake mentioned that Baltimore total looks a little bit low. 4-3. Yeah, I guess. Baltimore really just hasn't been that good. Cade Horton's an interesting one to me. Cade Horton, 4.3 run implied total for Miami. He's 8K, right? He's actually the 3rd highest priced pitcher on the slate. Has not been particularly good in the 2 starts he's made. But it's also Miami. In Miami. Cade Horton's the type of guy where if you end up just getting that great start from him when nobody's playing him, you're going to be pretty happy about it. It's a guy that had a really solid strikeout rate at the minor league level, right? You're talking hovering 30% around. Those are all decent numbers. This year in 2 starts, 17.9%. It's not good. Faced the Mets. All right, no surprise there. White Sox, can't make many excuses for you on that one, Cade. But against Miami, just a team that strikes out at a high clip. Bad overall baseball team altogether. You know, look, 8th in K rate, sub 100 WRC plus. They're sitting bottom 7 in baseball there. It's not a good team. They don't possess a ton of power. We know that already. They're middle of the league, middle of the pack. So I think Cade Horton's fine. The weird thing about this slate, and you guys we're probably seeing this the same way, is that outside of Hunter Bradley or Hunter Brown, there's a lot of these pitchers who actually look okay from a tournament standpoint. Like if you're playing cash games, you're a moron if you're not playing Hunter Brown, right? You're a moron. And I'm not calling any of you guys morons. I'm talking hypothetically about the guy who's like, you know what? Give me Logan Evans and Sagano. I don't need Hunter Brown in cash games. It's so much different. Leverage is not the intention of cash games. In tournaments, it is, unless your goal is to just kind of like min cash or hold hands with the field and everybody has a similar lineup. That's the difference. So you've got Meyer, you've got Shane Smith, actually not a terrible spot. Taj Bradley, Chad Patrick. And you do know that like Vegas is going to go a long way in helping us with some of these decisions. If you look at the implied totals for some of these teams, Tampa's at 4-1. Miami against Horton's at 4-3. Chad Patrick's got Baltimore. They're at 4-3, right? So some of these teams actually have very similar totals. Matter of fact, 3 of them have similar totals to the Rays, who are going up against Hunter Brown. Jake says, think I'll go back to Taj versus this putrid Houston offense. I want to go back to Taj Bradley so bad here because we've seen what he can do. We know that he has strikeout stuff. It's just none of the pieces are coming together. Like everything has gone wrong for him this year. So much has gone wrong. His xERA is more than a full run lower than his actual ERA. So that's nice. That K rate is so strange, though. Like, look at his K minus BB rate. It's down 10% from last year. How long does that continue? I wish I could tell you, but he's not getting hit hard. His barrel rate is half of what it was last year. So many of these numbers would suggest that Taj Bradley is still okay. You know? So hard to say. I want to believe. Like, I want to believe that this guy is fine. I just don't know if he is. Maybe I'll roll the dice on him being okay today. But we are going to get some of him. He's 6,700. Could be the cheapest you get him all year. Or he's nowhere close to the bottom. Any of these pitchers we're not getting to. Sugano, I don't love that spot at all. The guy just has zero strikeout stuff. That's the problem. Unless he's going up against the Angels. Andre Pallante, you know what I say about this guy. When you can generate the amount of ground balls that Pallante can, you're just so capable of going 6-7 innings every game. Like you're just going to have, you're going to be more efficient. And you look at this guy, I mean, he's gone 7 1/3, 3 1/3. He got beat up there. 6 4 1/3, 6 7 over his last 7 starts. So he's gone 6+ in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his last 7, 7+ in 3 of his last 7. The problem with Andre Pallante is even when he does that, you're still getting a tough time. He went 7 innings last game and didn't give you 20 fantasy points on DraftKings, and he got the win. That's what's tough about Pallante. 5 of 7 games with 4 or fewer strikeouts. He's 6,800, so, you know, I suppose I could understand that. And I don't think Pallante gets the credit he deserves, if we're being honest. But from a DFS standpoint, he's never going to jump off the page at you. Brant Herter, this is almost certainly going to be just a bullpen game. Man, I don't know. The most pitches he's thrown this season are like 46. So you're not getting there. Lou, Pallante projected for 76 pitches. Where? Where's he projected for 76 pitches? I mean, I just don't love the spot. But there's a guy who last start threw 100, 91, 72, 90, 83, 95, 93, 92, 78. You know. Big Chops, does Seattle strike out the most versus righties? No, not even close. Last year, they struck out a whole lot more than they do. This year, Seattle is 13th in K rate versus right-handed pitching. The Angels and Rockies there's nobody even in contention there. There's no one in contention with them. The best matchups, if you're talking about just matchups on the slate for pitchers, Hunter Brown's got Tampa, right? Hunter Brown has Tampa, but it's great hitting conditions. Logan Evans is one of the guys where I can't help but think that maybe there's something there, because that's one of the best matchups. And then Cade Horton's got a great matchup against Miami. Some of these other spots aren't really good at all. Let's take a quick look, and then we're going to dig into some of these lineups at Logan Evans here. Because, again, great pitching weather in Chicago, 51 degrees. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, this is 21% strikeout rate at AA and AAA. That's unnerving right there. I don't love that at all. Do not love that. Yeah, I mean, Steven, exactly. If you take Seattle, they're a good baseball team, especially outside of T-Mobile, but it's also a 5-game slate. And if you're talking about a 5-game slate, like sometimes you have to make sacrifices, and there's some things that all the stars aren't going to align all the time. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you could boost Hunter Brown within the Sims, right? You could boost him within the Sims, see how much you get. But let's take a look at the actual lineups we're getting within the Sims here. This will tell us a lot. And as you guys know, as you guys already know, you want to get access to these Sims, just shoot me a DM. Aaron, shout out for hitting me up today. But yeah, DM me at Laffy_D, LOUGHY_D. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. If you want to get in and you're saying, hey, you know what? I want to use these tools. I see people winning with these tools. I want to improve my process, build better lineups, and just become a better overall player. But I'd also like to get in at a discount, right? I'll hit you with a code in the DMs, and I'll get you in. I'll get you in with the code. The tush push. Whoa, get out of here. It didn't pass. That is crazy. Wow. Okay. I thought for sure it was going to pass, but it didn't. Damn. All right, let's go. Eat shit, Packers. But for real, hit me up. Any of you guys know I'm not gonna be like, here, take 5% off of the Sims. No, I'm gonna get you a month of Sims for what I think everyone would agree is an awesome price. And shout out to our guys. Dr. Rex took down $1 million on golf with the Sims on Sunday. Sloppy Poppy. A little baseball action here. 20K. I love Stokastic. Simple as that. Dustin. First time using the Sims for PGA, and I took it down right away. Thanks for the great tools. Hell yeah. Landra, first month with Stokastic. Already got a huge win in the MLB Minimax the other night. 600x return. Shout out to our people. And to Ram33 from earlier in the show, saying that with the tools and the shows, he took down the 44 on DraftKings and came in second in the 121. Gotta love it. Hit me up, man. Just DM me. Say, hey, I was watching you on the strategy show. Can I get that code? I want to get in on the tools. And I'll say, much obliged, sir, and hit you up. And I'll shoot you all the tutorials over and get you set up. Not just going to, this ain't no fly-by-night operation. We'll get you set up using the tools right away. Aaron said, I can vouch for that. Hit the thumbs up for Laffy. Yeah, Aaron hit me up today. Got him a good code. He's already locked in. So let's make it happen. But let's look at these lineups, right? So Chad Patrick and Shane Smith. You're going to feel uncomfortable here. 4-2 Tampa, Houston. Milwaukee, Houston with Max Meyer and Shane Smith. Max Meyer, if nothing else, is a really intriguing play today, right? Like, DM me, Kenneth. That's what I'm saying. Over on Twitter or on Instagram. You must have one of those at Loughy_D, LOUGHY_D. My handle's right there. See my black shirt? Right under that. You see that? Just hit me up. DM me. My DMs are open on both of them. But Max Meyer to me is far and away the most interesting pitcher on this slate because it's not a great matchup, but he's got such good strikeout stuff, and he is, a good pitcher that he could end up being so valuable today at 8,500. So I'm not going to shy away from Max Meyer exposure. Who knows? We may come back here tomorrow for the early slate and everything went sideways. It happens, right? But the Sims is saying, look, when you sim these contests or tens of thousands of times, this is what was most profitable within those sims. And in the contest generator, we're literally generating what should mirror the field that you're playing in. Anthony, respect the Cubs offense. I do. But you know what I respect more? The nuanced game of daily fantasy baseball, which is so much more than just, hey, that's a good team fade. Hey, that's a good pitcher play. Cade Horton, Taj Bradley with a 5-3 Tampa, Baltimore. This is nuts. If I actually play these, and I'm going to rerun the Sims, my guess is they'll be a little bit different. So if you're a Sims user, as we get closer to 1 o'clock, make sure that you are rerunning these Sims, okay? Make sure that you're doing that. And make sure that the projections are updated. So we updated 11. My guess we get another update at like 11 or 12, 12:15, something like that. But this is crazy. If I were to stick with these exposures, it's wild to think that not only am I underweight on Hunter Brown, but I'm overweight on the Rays. It's either disastrous or you're just making all the money. Stack exposure to Tampa is absolutely up there today against the preeminent pitcher on this slate. You want to make adjustments, you can do ROI boosts. You can set exposure caps here. You can even set stack exposure caps if you want, and you can limit specific stacks. If you said, you know what, I don't want that much Tampa. Or if you said, you know what, I let me get more Hunter Brown. You can go in here and you can boost Hunter Brown's exposure. Don't boost the ownership in the contest generator. Boost the ROI in the post-pre-contest sim. If you boost ownership in the contest generator, what you're telling the tools is that you think he's going to be higher owned, excuse me, in the field that you're playing. You're not actually boosting your exposure. If nothing else, you're probably going to bring your exposure down because now you're telling the Sims in the contest generator that you think he's going to be higher owned than he is. But some of these other stacks, Houston against Bradley, St. Louis, Seattle against Smith, 3-man stack exposures is interesting too. Some Seattle, some Baltimore, some Milwaukee. I mean, I'd probably tamp down this Tampa exposure a little bit. I'm going to try it right now and see what happens. Let me go to exposure caps and let's limit Tampa Bay stack exposure to like 20 total percent. Just see what happens here, okay? So we bring them down to 20. Who comes up? And does Hunter Brown come up? Yeah, to 8%. Stack exposure, we artificially bring down Tampa, bring up Houston and St. Louis, and pretty much just flatten everything out. Nobody runs away with it here. Interesting. Very interesting. So again, you guys are going to make your own decisions, and I support that. You know why I'm here. Many of you use the tools. You're going to be able to use those tools and customize them to your liking. I would caution you not to go too crazy with it, right? Don't change exposures to the point where now nothing looks like what it originally was, because that's just going to hurt you. But you can make some adjustments for sure. You want to bring Brown up, you want to bring Tampa down, any of that stuff. But yeah, these tools are really powerful, man. They really are, because they see what we don't. And I think a lot of times, at least I can only speak for myself, they make lineups and feed exposures to me that, my brain can't really produce on its own, because I can't get contrarian enough on my own, left to my own volition to do something like that. Overweight on a Brown or overweight on Tampa. And on days where it works, you look so much different than the rest of the field, Anyway, let's take a look at some home run props before we get out of here. You guys got any home runs you like today? I also would be, I'm very tempted to see, let's do it, what Hunter Brown's props look like before we go. Let's see what Hunter Brown's strikeout prop is compared to the rest of these guys. Obviously, it's going to be higher than everybody else, but like, how much higher is it than Max Meyer? Let's see. 6.5, some juice to the over there. Max Meyer, 5.5. So yeah, 1 strikeout difference for Hunter Brown and Max Meyer. Taj Bradley, heavy juice to the over on 4.5 Ks. Chad Patrick, little bit of juice to the under on 4.5. Over juiced on 4.5 for Cade Horton. Sagano, that's just a lost cause as far as strikeouts go. Palante, 3.5, 4.5, depending on where you're looking. Shane Smith has a 5.5 K prop. Granted, minus 146 to the under, but 5.5 on FanDuel and on Penny and on Circa. How about that, my friends? Wow. Logan Evans, 3.5. Yeah, not looking great there. Pitching outs, again, Hunter Brown has to be up top, right? 17.5. Heavy juice to the over. Let's say 6 innings there. Bradley, same fit. Get out. Bradley, similar. Max Meyer, 16.5. So, look, that's what we're dealing with. These props can come in handy. This is the live odds screen on OddsShopper, by the way. That's our betting site. Use this tool. This is free. Just create a free account. The live odds screen is 100% free. I use it every single day for homers, for props, for DFS. Add this into your repertoire of how you bet and how you play DFS. Plus, you're not paying a cent for it. You're able to see the odds on everything, but where the best odds are, and also what the edge is and what the true odds are. And you can set your sharp books too. If you say, like, I know that certain books are sharper, you can set your edge books to now you're getting the true odds and the edge based on the odds from those books, comparing the other rec books, unsharp books, slower to move, slower to post better odds, easier to beat, all right here. So yeah, helpful stuff. 1.5 earned, over juiced on Hunter Brown. Max Meyer, 2.5. Chad Patrick. So yeah, Hunter Brown, again, clearly the guy in this spot, but he's 10-5. And the one thing, again, no matter what any of this says, he's almost 70% owned. He's getting almost 70% ownership. So yeah. Any good bets on the board right now? Oh, all right, let's see. Any good? These are behind the paywall, but I'll throw them out there for you guys anyway. Let's see. Oh, a little home run prop. Dansby Swanson, plus 650 on DraftKings. Let's see where the other books are. Circa's at plus 475. FanDuel at plus 500. I'm going to bet this right now. Dansby Swanson, home runs, plus 650. And again, don't care if I'm playing Max Meyer, because if this is a plus EV bet, I'm betting it anyway. And right now, this bet is a 12.7% EV bet. We're saying the true odds are plus 565 and this is plus 650. I'll show you something. Do me a favor, guys. Go bet this and come back and see what the odds are on something like this in a little bit. A lot of times you get some really incredible line movement. And when you are getting, anytime you're getting closing line value on any of these bets, you know that long-term you're going to be profitable on something like this. You know long-term something like this will be profitable. All right, I just bet it. Dante DiVincenzo under rebounds, under 2.5 at plus 130. We'll bet that. And the cool thing about this tool is, like, if I wanted to, I could just take these two DraftKings bets, say there's 5. I could click place bets and all 5 bets get loaded straight into my DraftKings Sportsbook app. Andy, hey, Laffy, can we add where the money is coming in from the public on the live odds tool? Probably not. Also, another thing, Andy, like how I can tell you on player props where the public is coming in on the overs. I'm not trying to be snarky there either. Like, how many people are betting unders on, like, how many casuals, how much of the public is coming in on some of these illiquid markets? They're not illiquid, but not nearly as liquid as like sides, right? Spreads, money lines, totals. How much of the public is coming in and betting the under on strikeouts for Hunter Brown today? What's more important is that you can identify sharp sources. And once you've identified sharp sources, if they move, then the other books are going to move after, but you can bet it before those books move, you know? So being able to identify the sharp sources, you know, they're not moving on public money, right? Like Penny and Circa aren't moving off of something on public. Maybe, and with props, again, it's different. The limits are lower. It's so much different than betting sides. But yeah, that wouldn't be nearly as important for something like this. SGA under 44.5 PRA. I had under 31.5 points. He finished with 31, which was beautiful. But anyway, those are some bets we could drop in. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Remember, hit me up in the DMs if you want. You want to get access, just say, hey, Laffy, I was watching the show. Can I get that code to jump in on the tools? Again, shout out to all the boys, all the fellas, and the ladies out there who might have some monster wins. A milli this weekend, a 20K in the MLB streets from our friend Joey, and 2 first-time Sims users taking down first and third place in PGA and in the MLB Minimax. Come join us. Jump in the Discord. Jump in the DMs. Get you set up. Shoot you the tutorials. And we'll start doing this together. Otherwise, keep coming back. Hang out. Watching the show. This will always be free no matter what. And you guys already know that. But we'll see you guys back here. Have a good day. Tomorrow, I think another early slate. So same time. But we'll be breaking down another early slate. So these Wednesdays and Thursdays have been a lot of fun. Peace.